Hello and welcome, 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 dear Starshines, to another edition of the Lunchtime Chat. Welcome. So glad you guys are here. I'm glad that I'm here. We'll give everybody a minute to get on board. For those of you who are new, my name is Christina, and I am a consciousness acceleration expert. And we are here to talk about those topics and issues that are significant for us starseeds, wayshowers, new paradigm visionaries. That's because we have capacities, we have abilities that are not embraced by our larger human family. Therefore, we have a very unique perspective to what we see going on in this amazing, chaotic, crazy, terrifying, beautiful miracle reality that we're walking around in. So I'm here to do the best of my ability to provide a liberated perspective to these pieces that hang us up, that maybe make us feel like going down that rabbit hole of confusion or frustration or whatever. So I want to share a liberated perspective on these things to help you decode these pieces that maybe are tripping you up from more fully walking in your sovereignty and in your multidimensional truth. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Hey, Sherry, good to see you, love. Good to see you, Carol. Hey, Bev, nice to see you guys. Let me know my sound is good. Let me know that my sound is good. I think I might have accidentally washed my headphones in the washer and they went through the dryer. So I don't know if that really damaged them badly or not. So please let me know if the sound is coming through okay. And then we'll get on to our topics. All right, let me know if the sound is good. Yes, it works. Awesome. Okay, so we're going to talk about this crazy, intense push, pull, hurry up and stop, wait energy that's happening in March and what it's revealing for us. And I have some interesting enough, some messages from my higher self that's providing a perspective of what's happening here for our collective, for us personally, but also that collective level. Now, some of you may be feeling like, yeah, crazy stuff's going in March, and you might refer to outside stories or politics or war or, the really awful, intense things happening on the outside. But maybe you yourself in your daily world feels fine and there's nothing going on at all, right? So this piece that I'm going to talk about is still for you. And I say that because the collective global changes that are happening right now are inevitable for everybody. Everybody is going to have their own version of this eventually within the next few years, next 18 months to 2 years, 2.5 years, I'd say. Okay. And for those of you who are going through that emotional turmoil and really having a crisis of faith or feeling really, really pushed to your limit, right? Like emotionally, you're pushed to your limit. You don't know if you can deal with any more. You don't know if, you don't know the way through. You just know that there's something that you're going through, but you don't necessarily know the way. There's a lot of, intense feelings that come with being in that kind of position. And so this is what I want to talk more directly about, because it is intense. And, just because we do our inner work, just because we do certain things in our spiritual practice, or we, whatever we do that helps maintain our lifestyle that's true to us as multidimensionals, it doesn't mean we're exempt from suffering. It doesn't mean we're exempt from pain. It just means that we come at it in a very different way. And because of the space we hold inside of ourselves, because of who we are inside, our choices are passing through the suffering, are passing through the pain, results in us alchemizing, becoming, extracting the wisdom from the pain, extracting the resilience from the suffering. You see what I mean? So it's we are humans like everybody else, but because we have these other perspectives doesn't mean that we're better than, and we don't have to suffer. And yes, suffering on some level is a choice, right? But for most humans living in the Western world, in Western society, we have a propensity towards suffering beyond the actual pain itself, right? For those of you who do hot cold plunges or hot cold showers, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The mental agitation that happens before you get into the ice pool, right? Once you do it and it's done, you feel great and it's better, no big deal. And you go through the pain of it. You go through, you know, your body goes through the whole thing, and then you come out and you're golden, you're great. But the journey to that experience is where the suffering comes in. The pain is in the cold itself, and then you're out, right? So, you know, suffering for a Westerner, because of how everything is set up, we're kind of set up to suffer because of this game, how it's all playing. So we're sovereign, we're multidimensional beings, we're inventing lives that are true to us. We don't want to sell our soul off to the system. We want to live true to what is according to our compass. We want to create a life where we are making sovereign decisions for ourselves. Many of us have that. Many of us are working towards that. Many of us are waking up to that. We're in different stages, right? So the turmoil, the emotional turmoil is upon us. And this emotional turmoil means it's really going to test our character, test what it is we truly believe in about ourselves, but also what is our actual value system when in between a rock and a hard place. Do you fluctuate and do things outside of what your actual value system is? Or do you stand your ground to what you know is right and what is the truth for you? It doesn't mean you're going to have less pain necessarily, but it is going to give you something stable inside where you know at least that part of the journey you're sure about. Now, you don't know about all these other parts in the journey you're not sure about, but that one piece you can be, right? And this is really a significant during these times because we are getting a lot of, energetically, we're getting a lot of truth bombs dropped, right? We're also getting a lot of manipulation dropped along with the truth bombs. We know in this reality it never comes pure, right? It's always mixed in with a bunch of other stuff. And these truth bombs that are getting dropped either personally in your life or in your collective family or in your neighborhood or in your town, or you're talking about broader sense of politics, these truth bombs are getting dropped, and there's a lot of energetic ripple effect from that, right? And this is really what I want to get to with you guys, because there is a much bigger drama unfolding right now in our personal lives than just the a mano a mano, more than just that interpersonal relationship, or more than just that connection between you and that larger group, right? There's much more playing out. And I feel like once we associate the intensity of what we're personally going through with the larger landscape that's shifting and really causing all these things to come forward, I feel like then we're going to have yet another solid thing to rest upon, such as a personal value, right? So I was talking about those personal values give you something really solid to rest on. And I'm hoping to give you this other piece that gives you something to rest on, similar to what that deep personal value is for you, right? Hello, dear sister Susan. Good to see you. Hello, Tony. Good to see you guys. All right. So first things first, I talked about this the week before last, that, you know, as wayshowers, as new paradigm visionaries, as people who are embodying these new paradigm frequencies first, we are like, we're on the crest of the wave to experiencing the integration of these changes, to experiencing the shifting of the ages. We are going to show what it looks like first. And that's not necessarily a conscious decision. It's just that's because energetically, that's where we live. We live at the edge of, you know, according to what our own personal truth is and what our own values create for us. We're not necessarily in the world in a way where we're a product of its chaos. We like carve out our own place, our own space and time for us to dwell and be and do what we feel is right for us to do in life. Usually it's some level of service or something to bring beauty and benefit to our people, however you define that. So So we're on the foreground of this. We're digesting it. And the big energy that I really see shifting here is a massive cosmic frequency, gamma rays, not just from the supernova that happened a couple years ago, but there's also other, I want to say star frequencies, gamma frequencies bombarding us from the inside out. So you guys, I don't know if you know this about, I think it's the gamma rays. I'm pretty sure it's the gamma rays. Neutrinos, sorry, the neutrino waves. Sorry, neutrinos are beyond time and space. So a neutrino could be here in this moment and then pass through matter like there's no time at all and be in the Andromeda galaxy the next moment. And it defies science, but these particles move through time and they transcend time and space. They can pass through anything as if it's not there. Those are the frequency waves that I'm talking about that are bombarding us and preparing us for moving forward into a new paradigm. These frequencies are hitting our core light, our core seat of the soul here, as well as that within the Mother Earth, the Pachamama. So this is impacting us in a very, very deep way. And this is what the drama is unfolding in March. It's the structures inside our subconsciousness, the structures inside of our being, belief system, emotional body, all these things that are not in acceptance of the truth, that are based on folly, that are based on falsehoods. So the truth has to come in, shatter and break things away, so we can really actually experience the bigger truth as it's actually meant to be. When I say meant to be, our relationship with consciousness and our relationship with the truth is, I should say, intended for it to be a opening, liberating experience. So when you hear truth, it liberates you out of some sort of a mental, emotional prison. Right. But instead, because of all these nesting dolls of distortion within the matrix and the Akasha and the 4D field, all these nesting dolls of distortion, we've grown up with total completely turned around and backwards to the energy of truth. So, it's a major journey to wake up to what the truth feels like even, right? So as we learn the truth, it shatters parts of what we thought was real, and then we move forward from there. When it's little truths and we can pace ourselves, no problem. When it's big earth-shattering bomb truths, then we need a minute, right? We need to take a breath. We need to do whatever that self-care thing is that we know we need to do. And it's not even just one self-care. When they're really big bombs and it totally shatters your life, you're leaning on every friend and you're doing everything on a multi times a day to keep yourself straight, right? I think you guys can relate to certain pieces like this. So the reason why this is what I'm being shown is that the reason why this is occurring is that we're being prepared. Our emotional fields are being prepared. Our emotional fields specifically are purging subconscious structures that are rooted in folly, are rooted in falsehoods, rooted in something that is not the truth through the many nesting doll realms. So when I talk about truth, right, there's big truth and little truth. There's the truth of my name is Christina and I woke up today and had a cup of coffee, right? There's that kind of truth. But then there's like these larger, profound truths, right? And these larger, profound truths give us epiphanies. They wake us up to stuff that we've never been awoke to before. They crack us open to things that we've never that are totally new to our experience, right? Profound truths come from a higher order of being. Let's call it like that. So we have these, you guys are familiar with the different kinds of star beings that have been coming to this planet and interacting with humanity for many thousands of years. There's all sorts of star families that have been interacting with us, and they are considered to be higher dimensional beings. Maybe not a better than, well, all right, in the past several thousand years, they were kind of turned into gods. But before that, they were, it was a different kind of relationship. I'm going to say several 100,000 years, it was a different kind of relationship. And I know that's on a different historical clock than the accepted current timeline. But there's many there's a lot of evidence that tells us our currently accepted timeline's not accurate, right? So you guys won't hold me too hard to that one. So these star nations have been interacting with us for tens of thousands of years, according to indigenous lore, right? And there's a lot of acceptance of the fact that they've not only been working with us and guiding with us, they're our family, they're our star family, our star brothers and sisters. Okay, there's a close connection between them and us in this lore. And when we start talking about higher dimensional beings, we're talking about profound stuff. We're talking about something that really has an impact on us in the human biosuit in the here and now. If you guys ever been to see a spiritual master, you ever notice the energy is completely shifted around them, and who you are and what you experience very often is totally something new to you that just unfolded, right? So the energy of these beings are really are vibrating intensely with the frequency of truth. I mean, they're vibrating in the real truth of what is held in the outer nesting doll field. So we can say cosmic truth, galactic truth, stellar truth, solar truth, earth truth, right? There's all these nesting dolls coming together, and there's a truth that not only resonates through them all. So when you have a being that is in resonant truth on all these different nesting dolls, we refer to them as higher dimensional beings. They being around them is really intense energetically for us. Being even in the gaze of these beings, there's lore even within the indigenous story. If you even see the person's eyes, these beings, if you even look at their eyes, you can have a major event happen that impacts your timeline trajectory throughout time and space in the Akasha. There's also, the Mayans have stories of there's beings that if you look at them, you'll drop dead instantly, right? So there's this idea that there's this energy that's so intense that humans aren't able to handle it very well. Most humans are not able to handle it very well. Okay, so there's this idea that is well known through many traditions, and this is what I feel like we are being prepared for. This is why we are purging our emotional field right now. So when these energies that are these neutrinos, as they build in intensity, passing through, awakening consciousness inside the earth and our bodies, and the truth even more strongly gets revealed and even more resonant in these expanded levels, we are less likely to have the psychotic break / meltdown, right? I mean, I've seen egomaniacs, like really, really successful egomaniac, high level wealthy CEOs, really accomplished surgeons, like people that really have the authority, and they are, they're the shit, and they go before a being like this and they are sobbing like a baby, right? Kissing the feet of the master. And it's because this kind of truth cuts through the ego driver like nobody's business, right? So all this stuff is purging, it's dissolving. There's many of us who have chosen to be living in the frequency where we get to experience it first, right? We get to go through it first. A lot of that is because we have so much resilience. We're resilient, and it's amazing how resilient we are. And I know, that's something that we can over tap sometimes because we have this thing about, being of service. But when we are, in this kind of context, I feel like this is what our resilience is actually meant for, is to process the awakening of these consciousness, in this level of consciousness in a graceful way, where we can then, rip the Band-Aid off, process that, and then walk through the rest of the collective and help them with their process, because they may not be as resilient. They may be those sobbing CEOs and surgeons, at the feet of the master. Many people do respond that way when interdimensional frequencies, especially the truth, get revealed. Now, it doesn't need to be something they acknowledge inside themselves. It's a presence that reveals itself. And this is the part that's where we come in, the wayshowers come in. All right, so this purge is necessary. So when those outer nesting dolls of these higher frequency levels of consciousness get activated and start passing through us, right? It gets activated and it starts passing through us. We need to be able to handle it. We need to be able to not get thrown for a loop and have to process for 3 weeks, right? It's more of once we've have this purge go through, once we get the digest the truth in such a way where we come into right relationship with it, then we can truly serve moving forward in a larger way. So there's something I'm not saying right. So they keep telling me I need to read what I'm writing. So what I wrote. So I'm going to go back to what I wrote, because I think there's something perhaps that it's not in here that I'm saying. I'm not saying it correctly. All right. So we're being purged is necessary. So when the aperture of the consciousness opens, so these outer nesting dolls have shifted. They are all now more in resonance with truth than they were before. And now that percolates through the realms and bounces, and connects with our core. And now our core responds. Okay, that's what it looks like with these nesting dolls shifting in energy and consciousness. Parts of the truth that were dark, that weren't there, are now there, and we have to digest that through our biosuit, through our system. And it's to help prepare us to receive more full spectrum truth. So I'm talking about a consciousness and the energy of truth that is the truth from the outer nesting dolls of the cosmos, through the galactics, through the celestial, through the solar, through the heliosphere, through the collective field of the planet, through our individual fields as countries and states, and you know what I mean, through all the different nesting dolls. When it's a truth when it's a truth actuated through all those levels, that means now we are forced to reorientate. We're forced. I'm going to say forced only because our ego drivers kick and scream going through this kind of thing. When we really thought something was true and we find out that it's not, it's scathing, it's painful. And the depth that this resonance is coming from, I'm saying outer, but this is inner, right? The depth that all of this resonant truth is coming from is really, really profound. And the sense I have, it hasn't really been in this, I'm going to say in the human collective for quite some time. Now there's pockets here and there, unknown pockets here and there of collectives that do embody this, but they're hidden. Let's say it that way. They're hidden. We don't see them. We don't have experience of them. And I imagine many of them would prefer it that way. All right. So if our relationship to the truth is painful, that means that we are heavily attached to ideas and beliefs that are built on non-truths, that are built on lies, on folly. Folly is a better way to say it, because folly covers falsehood. Lies kind of implies, all sorts of other things. So folly, we'll say folly. If you're hearing the truth, an actual truth, not a manipulative thing, but if you're hearing an actual truth, and it takes time to decide if something is a truth, right? So it's not like that. It's when it's really a big thing coming through, revealing itself to you, that is a truth that is not what in alignment with what you thought and believed previously. Maybe you thought and believed it for a few months or a few years or a few decades, right? If it's not aligned with what you previously thought and believed, then it's going to be scathing. It's going to be a painful experience, that truth. So this is what we're doing this month for those of us on the edge. It's like we are we are allowing, we're able to allow that aperture for that higher consciousness that's waking up on all these levels. I should say being freed up on all these levels and can free flow again, like a breathing, like the breath of the universe. The breath of the pulse of the entire cosmos passes through our very being. The pulse of the cosmos passes through our very being, and the being of the very core of the earth, and the core of the stars, and the core of all these other planets that we're in this heliosphere with, right? So this interconnectedness helps us accept this truth, accept the truths that are coming from the pulsing, right? That doesn't mean crisis of faith isn't coming, because that still can happen for sure. That's always on the table. That's always on the table. But what I'm getting at here is that there's so much more consciousness free flowing in these outer nesting dolls that used to be held up in all these constructs, right? And now those constructs aren't there in the Akasha and the 4D field, and that much more life force energy is flowing freely, and now much deeper, higher levels of consciousness are dropping in for those of us who can receive it, or those of us who have chosen to receive it. That's probably a better way of saying it. So it's scathing, it's painful, because we have to wake up to all the lies that we were told. We have to wake up to all the lies we told ourselves. We have to wake up all the ways that we sold ourselves short because of those lies, right? So there's a deep emotional process, inner process that comes with these truths. But this is the year for it to all come out. This is the year. And March, March is the beginning. And some of us are going to, rip it off like a Band-Aid and be done. Right? And some of us are going to want more time and space to work through it. We have some time to work through it. It's not like we have to rush ourselves. And this is one of the really important lessons in us doing this, us on the forerunners processing the opening of this aperture, is because, how do I say this? Hold on a second. It's about to come out backwards. Sometimes things come out backwards when I start channeling energy, channeling consciousness from within. Okay. One of the big lessons here that I'm recognizing is to not rush. Not rush. Give yourself, because when it's scathing, we want it to hurry up and be over, but don't rush. And this is because when we slow down, we can really be clear in letting us have the feeling, letting us process an experience. Now, we may know down the road a choice has to be made. We may know that down the road A, B, and C has to happen, but it's not right now, right? It's down the road. And the space you hold for yourself as you process these intensities will help you feel, sense, taste, know, digest these energies in such a way where tomorrow you're going to feel differently. The day after that, you're going to notice something different. The day after that, you're going to be noticing something different. And each day leading up to the moment where the choice has to be made, you are going to be a different person. You are not going to be how you are right now. You're going to be a different person because you digested all those energies from the opening aperture. Okay? And I'm not saying this is easy work at all. I would not kid you like that. But if you guys get a sense of what I'm talking about for you on a personal level, totally, let us know in the chat. So you can just say hallelujah. And I know that you're one of those, that you feel like you're one of those on the edge of that wave. So one of the tendencies that happens when we get disconnected from the mother too soon is that, a pain develops, and we don't feel comfortable making space for ourselves. We don't feel comfortable having our feelings. We don't feel comfortable with there's certain uncomfortabilities that start to rule our decisions instead of that truth compass that's inside. And as this opportunity, as this aperture opens, this is our opportunity to rewrite those codes, to change those programs to something else, rewrite them completely. Because really, there's been a lot of spiritual manipulation with these levels of consciousness, the 45D. I mean, so much manipulation. We have, beings that are not the creator beings of all beings that have come here and claim to be the creator of all beings, but they're not actually the one true creator. They just are playing a role, right? They're just letting us orientate to them as gods, and so they'd be worshipped and glorified, and they can feed off of that frequency. You guys, the world is full of narcissists for a reason, because it's a real thing to feed off of someone's love, to feed off of someone's generosity, to feed off of someone's kindness. That is a real energy siphoning experience that so many empaths go through, so many sensitives go through this, right? So it is a very valuable, like what soft value I call it, to have a large amount of people worshiping and glorifying you as these dimensional beings, right, that I'm talking about. So there is that true creator piece that is very, I'm going to say, flows like a river. It's very neutral. It is a river of love, but it's very neutral. You don't have to do something to earn it. You are already in it. You don't have to do anything to be a part of Prime Creator. You are that. You are that, period. It doesn't matter how despicable you become. It doesn't matter how beautiful you become. It doesn't matter where on the spectrum you fall. You are one with Creator no matter what. This is the true creator. Now, these other beings that came in and were acting like gods, they gave us rules to feel worthy. They gave us rules to be favored by God. They gave us all these things that we need to do in order to reap the benefits and protections or whatever by the God, by the pantheons, the systems of gods, even, right? And this is what we're destroying that right now, going through this phase. The aperture is opening, more consciousness is flooding in, and with it a deeper resonance with a much higher truth. And now we are forced into this place of having to reconcile a different relationship to this new truth that has woken up inside. We have to reconcile with it. And that means facing and shutting down, just, dissolving, however it happens for you, dissolving these programs that tell us that we have to do A, B, and C to petition the Lord. We have to do A, B, and C to be favored by God. We need to do A, B, and C to get into heaven. We need to go A, B, and C just to even talk to Creator. You know what I mean? There's like all these hoops we have to go through in order to have contact. And that is a painful letting go, because it's such a deep foundational cornerstone to our relationship with spirit, our relationship with self. The self is the self, regardless of what we do, regardless of how grateful we are, how ungrateful we are, how centered we are, how uncentered we are, how truthful we are, how not truthful we are. It doesn't matter. We are always going to be in the river of that great creation, always, always. Okay? So imagine what kind of decisions you would make differently, knowing that what's yours is already yours. You absolutely deserve to be able to take up space, breathe air, have needs. You see what I mean? Like, just occupy the space that you're in, have needs, because you're a creator being and you need to express and create. Imagine if there was no guilt and shame, no restriction, no limitation on that feeling for yourself. Imagine. How would that be for you? Okay. when we go into these, the integration of this energy is going to throw us into a crisis state here and there, depending on, how the integration goes and how attached we were to the folly of our lives. And what I would say is that there is a support for this process, because our entourage, our teachers and guides, we'll just call it like that, ancestors, teachers, and guides, know that we're flying blind. They know that we are in this structure based in folly, and we can't see the truth very often. So there's a lot of help and support with this process because of that. And it's easier now than it's ever been. Energetically, it's easier now than it's ever been. It just takes time to slow down and reflect and have the epiphanies that you need to have. As the epiphanies start to come, your relationship to the real truth just inches along as you integrate. Now, if there's something that you're really holding on to that you cannot let go, the pressure will build. It'll build until you let go, or you blast off. Let go or blast off. Now, maybe blasting off is a part of the process that you need to go through to digest these energies. That's absolutely possible. As we let go of these older spiritual relationship programs, we get to be freer and freer inside, where it's okay to stand up for yourself. It's okay to have what you want. It's okay to seek freedom to do what you desire. It all feels very matter of fact and okay. But these deep programs that oftentimes we were devotional to. I mean, for example, think about how many lifetimes did you have in a mystery school, right? How many lifetimes? Sit right now and kind of take a deep breath. Go into your heart and imagine how many in the Akashic field, how many lifetimes did I participate in mystery schools and their dogma? Okay. And you may notice that a lot of things appear, and you may notice that just a few. Either way, there's still structures in the Akasha living out in our here and now. Okay? So, even if we were, in the clergy, we went into these programs really deeply. We adapted them. We ceremonially said yes to them. We did all sorts of things to lock us into the dogma that came with the religion/mystery school. And this is held by Neptune, and this is these are the structures being scraped away, little by little, chunk by chunk. And this work isn't easy. These changing times is not easy. It was never promised to be easy. All that was really promised is that we would be given everything we need to see it through. That was the only promise, that we will be given everything we need to see it through, to see this transition through in whatever role that is meant for you. All right, I feel like I didn't finish that one point. Hold on a second, I need to go back to it. The point about the those old structures. Okay, so those old structures also carry with it lineage wounds, lineage patterns, especially with the trauma, especially with like the burning times, the conquistador times, there's many actually all groups on this planet have experienced immense loss and spiritual pain, and agony. And those that come to transmute it have transmuted it. Many of you came to your family to transmute these things. And, transmuting. So I guess you get to decide, where would you rather be? Would you rather be in a place of suffering where, say, I don't know, your entire house and everything you own gets burnt down? Or would you rather be in the place of suffering where you really have to face the folly that you've built your existence on? You really have to face the emotional disorder that has been constructed. You really have to face that because it's not in alignment with the real truth. I mean, these are both different kinds of suffering, both very painful, both very difficult to go through. Only can imagine, right? But if you had to choose, which would you choose? And this is part of, no one's getting out of this transformation unscathed, if that's the way to say it. No one is going to get through, that's what they mean. No one's going to get through this transformation looking pretty. Because it's getting real is what we really have to do with ourselves. And, and I really, I start to think that this is also why Trump ended up getting elected, because these changes in these outer nesting dolls are occurring. Life force energy that didn't used to be free flowing is now free flowing. Consciousness that used to be captured and reversed and inverted and sent through is now no longer like that. It's just coming in its pure form. Because these 60, 70, 8D, all the way, 5D, 4D fields, all these fields have shifted in such a way, it feels like he was the only leader that was available to be able to give all this change and expression. I'm not saying he's doing a good job. That's not what I mean. I'm just talking about these subtle energies. These energies from the subtle realms have to get expressed. And it seems like, he is the one that is able to express these energies for good or for not. It also seems like there is such a vast reorganization of our inner resources required right now. When I say, and that's also expressed in the circus of all this, because if you look at like the whole Doge thing, some people love it, some people hate it, some people are on the fence, some people are terrified, some people love it and are terrified. You know what I mean? There's this whole spectrum here. But it's really fulfilling that desire, that energy of getting straight with our inner resources. This is what we are called to do during this chaotic time, is to get straight with our resources. Make sure that we're actually set on a foundation that is a truth, versus setting things on foundations that are rocky or full of lies or never existed or were a total delusion, right? That happens all the time. That happens a lot. Woo! I almost tipped over the, sorry, I almost knocked over the camera. Okay. Okay, thanks, Carol. We'll have to catch you later. So you guys, let me know. You're awfully quiet. Let me know what's happening. I don't have my phone, so I won't get a text. I'm curious how this is all landing. How has your March been so far? Is it wild and crazy? Does it have you on edge? Or are you surfing and feeling good? Are you surfing and feeling good? Is everything going good for you? Mm-hmm. So, okay. So this purging, for those of us who can handle the intense purge, this is coming through. Okay, thank you, Beth. For those of us can handle the fast purge, it's coming through very quickly, and with ferocious I'm going to say, dissolving capacities of flames and sacred waters and the elements, right? For those of us who are, feeling sensitive, or just wanting things to be gentle, or actually needing things to be gentle, not ego driver level, but on a core level, you need it to be more gentle. It's like a ratcheting. It's a slow ratcheting that's, going to come to peak in a couple months. Like I said, no one's getting through this transition without facing some part of themselves that they really need to face. And I'm so grateful that I know how to clear energy and track energy for myself. I'm also grateful for our entire community within Lightbody, because, everybody's an excellent tracker in their own particular flavor, styles, and niches. But it's really helpful because it helps see the trees through the woods. It helps clear away the bindings within these invisible fields that are blinding us to what is actually in front of us, that's contributing to our resisting coming into right relationship with the truth that's a result of these apertures of consciousness opening. Oh, okay. All right. So all right. So Tony, thank you so much for responding. She's responding. So says there's some shakeup at work, but I ride the waves and I have found something good to come out of it. So for me, it's good. Okay. Very good. Very good. This ratcheting up to the core truth, it's gonna come through in structures. It's gonna come through in corporations. It's gonna come through, of course, in personal lives. Our legal system, our mail system, all the different systems, it's going to come through in a very, and we'll see in what kind of way. These are, long ago, it was said that these are very confusing times. And I think they're talking about confusing times, not necessarily about the intensity of the chaos anymore. It's more about confusing times because we need our inner compass clear, but we're going to see the ways in which it's not clear. And then that's where we struggle. Okay, if we don't know what we don't know, we like our senses aren't quite on point and we can tell, you know what I mean? There's different things happening that are on point that we can tell. And it makes us feel very edgy and uncomfortable. And that processing, that emotional processing has to happen. And as it happens and we sink into the deeper truths, our truth compass comes back online and we'll be able to move forward again. But it's a process. It's a deep, deep, deep process. And there's no rushing it. And the great lesson that this really unfolds for us is that, that's what I didn't finish talking about. The great lesson that really unfolds for us is that it's okay for us to have our feeling. We don't have to do something that doesn't feel right. That is that old paradigm programming that's falling away. You get forced in between a rock and a hard place and you do something that you don't feel right about. That's not right. Why? That's how the distortions were able to anchor themselves so deeply in this reality, was getting people to betray themselves over and over again and make these agreements and make those arrangements and create that system and implement this system, right? It's like it required people betraying themselves to bring systems that are aligned with such folly into our reality and distort our experience. So this process, hopefully you'll come out of it so much more deeply aware and allowing of the kind of space you need to do what's right, to feel for what's right. It's not for some people it's a snap thing, but not usually. Usually when it's this big of a level coming from all these outer nesting dolls into our reality, or, inner or outer, take it as it resonates with that. It's going to be a process to unravel ourselves from all that folly that we thought was the truth. There's a grieving process that has to happen. So it's not a quick thing. It's a journey to the other side. And on the other side, you're on the other side because your truth compass, your sense of your truth compass meets you there. Okay. So this work that we're doing, it's revealing, integrating truths, coming in the right relationship with truths. It's relieving us from the delusion of all these follies that we based our reality on. It's relieving us of these mental, emotional cages that these programs and the collective hold us to, right? Because the energy is alive inside of us. We can't resonate with that cage anymore. We're out here somewhere, and all the safety we thought we used to have with that cage isn't there. We're out here somewhere processing instead, right? So this inner fortitude, that's the word. Inner fortitude is the beautiful thing to come out of this for ourselves. And you'll also be a changed person. You'll have more resilience. You'll have more relaxed, stilled inner dialogue. Stuff like this. These kinds of changes will take place. All righty. Well, if there are more things to talk about this, we'll see if it comes out. Let me look at my notes that I made to make sure I hit all the points that I'm supposed to be making. I just jotted this down before the chats to make sure I got okay. Right. I was going to talk about the different forms of letting go. Let's see if I have time for that. Okay, so forms of letting go. For those of you who do ceremony, you totally know this. You can use ceremony to let things go by writing things down and burning it, infusing flammable objects with the energy of what it is you want to let go and putting it into the fire. You can purge. You can fast. You can when I say fast, I mean just go on a water fast. Purge the toxins out of your system, and with the physical toxins, the mental, emotional toxins move with it. Stuff like that can happen. Purging could be physical. It could be exercises. It could be running and screaming. It could be dancing, which you guys know is some of my favorite. There could be the physical thing, and then it also could be the emotional thing. Have that sit down that you've been needing to have. Have the sit down that you've been avoiding to have. Like whoever that person is or a group of people are, have that sit down. Get your truth out. Speak your voice. Speak your voice, right? That will help move the energy. Maybe you can claim your power by speaking truth. Maybe you can claim your position by not letting yourself be wavered or bullied. Whatever, you each have your own unique situation to this, but there is a very significant piece that we are being called to rise to stand up for, right? Oh, dear sister Starshine says, enough of the cages, feels like resonant truth. Enough with the cages feels like a resonant truth. There we go. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, enough with the cages. The whole point of the cages is to keep you inhibited. When when our life force energy is inhibited, we're not able to be just in our natural flow. Energy starts to pool and fester and become sticky, and yucky stuff starts to collect within the fester, right? But when we are uninhibited and in our free flow, we are in trust of ourselves. We are in trust of the Pachamama. We are in trust of the energy, and we're having a great time. We are exploring our passion. We're doing what we really want to do, what we're excited to do, all these things. These things, these falsehoods, these follies that we're facing is essential to get past. How else are we going to create a new world if we are still subconsciously trapped in the limited ways of thinking of the old world? We can't. It has to come from a higher form of ourselves. It has to come from a rearranged value system, a value system that holds maybe truth being the highest, maybe then compassion, or maybe then peace. I would prefer truth than peace, right? Because there's no peace if there's not truth. If everybody's aligning to the truth, then that is a lasting peace. Versus if people are aligning to a lie, then that's gonna fall away, and that's not a peace that's gonna last. So the energies are quite magnificent. The planetary realms are even more directly impacting us than before because of the awakened energy that I talked about earlier. So, and it doesn't matter if you're True Sky or Vedic or was that Siddharth. It doesn't matter necessarily what system you like to use. They all have their resonance in certain ways, but it's more about understanding that there are direct cosmic soul level forces at play in a direct, unhindered way that weren't like that before. Okay? There is a river of life force energy, like cosmic forces that are flowing through these outer inner nesting doll realms that weren't flowing like that before. That means we are challenged to find our path, our non-inhibited path of integrating and expressing. What does that look like for you? What does that look like for you? All right. I feel like I'm starting to get repetitive now, so I'll go ahead and move on. So, you guys, everybody, I want you to know that there are wonderfully aligned events here at Light Body to help support you in your journey and clearing and getting to your truth compass, building a strong energy field, and really unplugging from those old patterns of our empathic abilities being our weakness. We have a really great body of work to help us turn our sensitivities into our greatest strengths. Some people might call that being a Sigma empath. So if you guys are interested in really turning the tables on your sensitivity and becoming a powerful empathic force in your life and your healing and for the lives around you, I encourage you to check out the Light Body Essentials. Light Body Essentials is 3 meetings a month with lots of recorded material, additional recorded material, and it's all around good energetic hygiene, building a strong energy field, building a strong relationship with your truth compass, transmissions and light codes for becoming that for being in that transition from Homo sapien to Homo luminous, as well as opportunities to prepare your field in such a way to do advanced dream work. So if that is something that is curious or interesting to you, I encourage you to check out our Light Body Essentials program. Then you can find that at lightbodyacademy.com. If you guys want to support our channel, go ahead and do the like, subscribe, and comment thing. Not the live comment, but on the comments on the recordings. That helps support us. I've never really been into the whole algorithm, get out as far and wide. I always just kind of figure the people that need to see this will see this, but I'm starting to hear that people that need and want to see this are having a hard time finding it to see it. So, and I think that's just because we're not so proactive on the whole liking, subscribing, and sharing thing. We're not so proactive in mastering the algorithm. But yeah, it does support the channel if you are able to do that. If you could do that in Rumble and YouTube, that would be great. That would help us proliferate our message. All right. So with that takes me to the top of the hour. I hope these things I was talking about are supportive for your process. Kind of meandered like a river. But hopefully I was able to weave all this together in a nice cohesive package for you to easily digest and apply to your lives. So with that, thank you, thank you, thank you for your time and attention. Love you guys. And I hope you guys are able to make it a great week. Until next time, bye-bye.